Having guard depth like Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, and Smart, and then Brown and Tatum and Robert Williams manning the paint with Al Horford. I mean, this team is probably the most talented, the most deep in terms of talent in the entire league, but there's a problem, and that is the cohesiveness of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together. They don't fit as a duo because both of them need to get the ball in the basket to be successful. They need the ball in their hands to be successful. They can't play off ball, and they operate in a your turn, my turn way. Let me elaborate a little bit. Let's look at the Denver Nuggets. Why is the duo of Murray and Jokic so successful? Because Jokic doesn't need to get the ball into the basket to be successful. He affects the game in other ways. Murray does need to, but they work so perfectly because Jokic can get the ball to Murray, Murray can get the ball to Jokic. It's not a your turn, my turn thing. It's a cohesive offense that works naturally with those two. Brown and Tatum don't work naturally. If anything, Brown takes shots away from Tatum and Tatum takes shots away from Brown. Similar reason why the Nuggets beat the Suns. Book and KD don't match. They're two superstars who need the ball to go into the basket to be successful. They don't affect the game in any other ways. Role players are more important than they've ever been. So, I have a proposal for a way that the Celtics can fix that issue. And a piece that would fit perfectly with the Celtics team would be Jaren Jackson Jr. Now let me explain. It might sound a little crazy for some Celtics or Grizzlies fans. The Celtics have such amazing guard depth. They don't need Jaylen Brown. The defensive pairing of Jaren Jackson Jr. and Robert Williams would be the best defensive duo maybe in the league, but definitely the best big man defensive duo in the league. And the reason the Celtics can afford to do this is because without Jaylen Brown, they still have 3 starting caliber guards: Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Malcolm Brogdon. They don't need Jaylen Brown. But what they could use next to Robert Williams is a paint presence. Al Horford is a stretch 5, Robert Williams is a paint protector, but what if you can get a defensive player of the year and someone you can rely on to get the ball in the basket and make a move in the post? They don't have a big that affects the game offensively as a traditional big would. So to have Jaren Jackson Jr., someone who can play off ball and be the defensive player of the year for you, while still maintaining an amazing backcourt and keeping Jason Tatum and unleashing him from this toxic duo which exists, is the best move for them. And I'm going to explain to you right now how it can happen and exactly how it could transpire. The Grizzlies would send Tyus Jones, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Brandon Clark to the Celtics, and the Celtics would send the Grizzlies Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, and a first-round pick. Now, what you got to understand is Jaylen Brown is on a 1-year deal. He could leave after this. So the Celtics are going to have to give up more than they intended to obtain Jaren Jackson Jr. because there's a chance he can walk anyway. And it's okay to give up Malcolm Brogdon because you still have Derek White and you still have Marcus Smart in the backcourt. 2 very, very good starting caliber guards who would fit perfectly alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. You also get Tyus Jones and you get Brandon Clark, who Tyus Jones is known as one of the best backup guards in the league, and Brandon Clark is a great defender and can be formidable offensive. Because the Grizzlies have a paint presence like Steven Adams, they can afford to do this, and getting the 3-headed front court monster in Ja Morant when he comes back, Jaylen Brown, and Desmond Bane is something that if I was the Grizzlies, I would be very, very interested to explore. With Jaren Jackson Jr.'s value being at an all-time high due to his Defensive Player of the Year award, I would sell high on him and trade for a guy like Jaylen Brown, also getting Malcolm Brogdon, who would be very good for Ja Morant. Having a veteran presence, a smart, controlled ball handler to mentor Ja Morant and back him up is such an upgrade from Tyus Jones, and having that much guard depth along with a good paint presence is perfect for them. They also get a future first-round pick from the Celtics. I think it makes sense for the Grizzlies. And for the Celtics, having a starting lineup of Derek White, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Brandon Clark is not only the best defensive lineup in the NBA by far, but also one of the best offensive lineups in the NBA. Derek White has proven to be a bucket getter this entire series in the last couple years. Marcus Smart can light it up from 3. Jason Tatum's 30-point per game scored. Jaren Jackson Jr. averages over 20 points per game. This is a team made in heaven. It's so perfect on both sides of the ball, and I think this trade makes sense enough for it to actually go down. And they can explore bench depth and free agency. They keep guys like Al Horford, Grant Williams, and Peyton Pritchard, and they can pick up another couple guys and have a formidable bench as well. This would set the Celtics up for success. So this is just one idea of how the Celtics could improve this season and get back to being in the championship.